In this activity, we will learn about filter method. But first, let's read the instruction. It says, your spreadsheet is now functional. However, you don't have support for very many formulas. Add an even property to your spreadsheet functions. It should take nums parameter and return the result of filtering. Take note, filtering the nums array to only include even numbers. Use a reference to your isEven function to help. Now, before we answer this, we would have to first understand about filter method, on how to use it and what's its purpose. Now, for example, we have persons, okay? Person to identify. Person to identify. We have an array. First element would be perhaps Batman, because I love Batman. And then let's say SpongeBob. And then Luffy, because he's the goat. Anyways, and you also have to declare a variable. Let be the variable name as person who has letter A in their name. Perhaps it's much too long for a variable name, but it's just an example, so it's okay. Okay, so we access the array person to identify, and this is where we use the filter method. And inside this parenthesis is where we always input our condition. Okay, so now that we have accessed our array, which would be the elements of Batman, SpongeBob, and Luffy, with the use of filter method, we would now have access of all of these elements. And inside the filter method is where we input our condition. Let's say letter A. Let be letter A as a parameter, which result letter A and includes A. Includes is a method, built-in method in JavaScript. Now, let's take a step back. We have a variable, an array called person to identify, which would be the Batman, SpongeBob, and Luffy. We also have declared another variable called person who has letter A in their name, which is very long, which is okay. Now, this variable will hold the result of filtering the accessed array with the elements of Batman, SpongeBob, and Luffy, which now has assigned to a parameter letter A, and if it is and inside the filter, if letter A includes, the parameter, if the letter A or the parameter includes letter A, it will person who has letter A in their name. There it is. So if any of the element of the array has a letter A in their name, then it will output who? Take a guess. Of course, that would be Batman. Now, basically, in a nutshell, filter method is used to access all or iterate through all elements inside an array and matches to the condition. And if an element inside that array matches the condition, it would output that element. Basically, that is what filter method does. And inside the filter method is always where the condition is. Now, perhaps it's not the best example of filter method, but you might have to look that up in the internet in case I failed to explain more about or clarify more about filter method. Now, going back to the activity. It says, add an event property to your spreadsheet functions. Okay, inside our spreadsheet function. No, it's not a function, but an object rather. We have a sum, average, and median property. Now we input our event property. And it also says that it should take nums as parameter and return the result of filtering the nums. But we also know that if we return the result of something, that would suggest that we should use an arrow function. So we already have nums as our parameter, and arrow pointing to the right, we suggest to implicitly return the filtering of nums array. So first we call in the array nums and interpolate the method filter, and inside the filter again is where we input our condition, but in our case we reference the function. So is event. So if the arrays if the elements inside the nums array has an even number, it should filter or obtain that value or element. Nice.